Hey guys, and welcome back to Somonul Art. If you've been following our series, you're already familiar with some of Gaia's powerful nodes, like Perlin, Mountain, and Rock Noise. Today we're going to combine these nodes and take our terrain generation to the next level. Let's dive in and see how mixing these nodes can unlock new possibilities for your landscapes. Before we start combining, let's quickly recap what each node does that we're going to be using today. The Perlin Noise Node, a basic noise generator that creates soft, organic variations. The Mountain Node, ideal for generating rugged mountainous terrains. And finally, the Rock Noise Node, adds rocky textures and details to the terrain. Now let's see how all these can work together. We'll first start out by finding all three of the nodes that we're going to be using. And to find those, we just got to go over our toolbox. We're going to look for Perlin, which is going to be right here. We'll drag that and drop that into our graph like so. Next up, we want Rock Noise, which is also under Primitives, under the toolbox. We'll drag that right there. And we'll give ourselves a little bit more room here so we can see all three of them. The next is going to be under Geo Primitives, Mountain right there, and drag that right there, just like so. Maybe a little bit more. We'll get these lined up. We'll make them look real nice. Make sure we click Save. Beautiful. All right. Let's adjust these a little bit before we combine these all together. I've got my Rock Noise node. And I do kind of like that, but I want it to be a little bit bigger. Make the density a little bit less. See how that looks. Give it a different seed value. Ah, there we go. I kind of like that. I think we'll go with that. And then we'll click our Perlin Noise node here and take a look at what we've got going on here. We'll change a couple of the attributes. Make it a nice jagged looking mountain with rigid over here. And I'll just play with the scale just a little bit. I don't want this to be too crazy. There we go. Warp frequency just a little bit. We'll bump that up to 6. Transform. Uh-oh. Definitely not the Y we need. Yeah, it is actually the Y. We'll go with the Y. 0.75. There we go. That looks pretty good. Huh, boy, that's beautiful. We'll go with this right here. Now we'll select our mountain node. That looks pretty flat right now, doesn't it? Wow. So let's do a little bit of adjusting on this one. We'll add some bulk to it. Don't want it to be too crazy high though. So we'll reduce it back down to about 75, 74. Good enough. That actually looks kind of cool. Wow. I do like that. Let's play with these options a little bit, see if anything really pops out between. Decisions, right guys? Oh boy. We'll just go with B. I like that. That's this nice little cliff face right here. Alright, so now that we've got all the nodes set up, we're ready to move on and start combining these together. But how are we going to do this? Well, there's another node that we can use that combines these, and guess what guys? It's called Combine. All we got to do now is find it. And again, that's going to be in our toolbox. We're going to look under Adjustments. We'll scroll down till we get to Adjustments. This is right here. And there we are, the Combine node. We're going to use just one for now. And what we're going to do, just drag it right there. We're going to hit this little dot right here to make this little connector for the output. We're going to input that into our Combine Input node. And you can see now 100% of our Perlin node is in this Combine node. If we take this Rock Noise, do the same thing but drag it into the input number 2, that's going to take both of these and combine them together. The cool thing about this, it's just like Photoshop or any other type of blending program. It uses pretty much the same things. You can swap around between screen, multiply if you want it to be more accented, power, embed. So you can play around with a lot of these different ones. I usually like to leave it on blend. Gives it a nice medium between both of them. And then just play with the dial here till you find something that you like that really just kind of brings out what we're looking for. So I'm adding more of the blend to the rock noise. You can also swap out the inputs. Now we have more of the Perlin, which is being used right here. But again, I do want more of the rock noise to be visible, so you can kind of start to see some of the rock formations that are starting to become a part of the rocky area here. We can change the density just a little bit more so we can see. Give it a second to compute. There we go. So now you can really see those rocks in action. That looks pretty awesome. I'll switch it back to 0.5 so it processes a little bit faster. So we've got our first combine node all set up. Looking just great. The next thing I want to do is make another combine node so we can add the mountain to it. So I'll take the combine node, drag another one right under the graph here, and we'll set it up right here. Nothing's connected to it yet, but this time we're going to take our combine one node and we're just going to drag the output right here onto the input, just like so. And now we've got a flattened version of this, but that's because it's only using 50%. If I dial this all the way down to 0, I've got the exact duplicate of my first combined node. So we'll change that back to 50%. And now we're going to drag our input node from our mountain right into the input node of combine number 2 input. Just like that, you can start to see a little bit of our mountain popping through. Nothing too crazy. That looks really awesome. And again, you can play around with the slider here if you want more of that Perlin to be seen, but I would definitely want some of the mountain to be showing more. So we'll add that about 68%. So now we've got a lot of the details from the Perlin node and that rock noise node combined with the mountain. That's just beautiful. Let's take a look at the mountain without all that. So you can see how it's squashed, has these flat surfaces, there's no real definition there. But when we combine those other nodes, we've got a lot of interesting things going on right here, right now. It's definitely added some cool characteristics to it. And you can get really crazy with this. So if we zoom out just a little bit on our graph, we'll drag this around here. Let's make another Perlin noise node. Let's go up to primitives again. Add another Perlin node. And this time we're going to go a little bit crazy with it. Let's do, oh, it already is on complex. Billowy, we'll make some hills. We'll make these really small. We don't need any warp frequency. What about the octaves? I don't want to go too crazy with that, but definitely want to add a couple more interesting features to this. So now we'll scroll back down to our combine adjustments. Look for the combine node again, and we'll add one more. We're going to be working with 3. This is going to be pretty crazy. Let's plug that into input 1. And then we got our Perlin here. We'll plug that into input 2. And then take a look at it. Wow. That looks really wild. So we've definitely got to dial that down because we still want to see our mountain some. But you can definitely see how the new Perlin node really got crazy and took over. So let's dial this down so we got our mountain node in here. Let's add some subtle subtlety to it. That might be actually too crazy. Let's play around with the blend features. That looks kind of cool. What about multiply? I think multiply is going to be our winner right here. We still got a lot of definition in our mountain, but we've lost a lot of height in the mountain. So we can click our mountain node. Maybe we can add some height back. Remember how earlier we lowered it because we thought it was too big? Well, with that combine, we definitely lost a lot of height to it. So now we can add some back. There, that looks a lot better. Let's go back to our original Perlin. Take a look around here for a bit. Add some scale to it, make it really boost it up there. What about rigid? We've already used rigid though. Oops, let's try FBM. There we go. I think I like FBM. Just a little bit. 37%. And as you can see, this combine node just gives you a lot of flexibility for adding a bunch of different nodes and, like its namesake, combining them together and just making some beautiful terrain here. This is already looking really neat. So there's so much customization you can do with these, and with all the blending modes, the possibilities are infinite, my friends. And that concludes our tutorial on combining Perlin, Mountain, and Rock Noise nodes in Gaia. We've seen how using these nodes together can elevate your terrain designs, offering a more dynamic and realistic landscape. Experiment with different settings and combinations to discover which best suits your project. If you found this tutorial helpful, please subscribe and leave a comment below with what you'd like to see next. Stay tuned for more Gaia tips and tricks. Alright my friends, happy creating, and we'll see you in the next video.